I got a press release this week that was the creme de la creme of bullshit press releases. And the headline was, Haggis crowned UK's most popular pub food.
What? Hello and welcome to another episode of Mildly Informed with me, Richie Firth, and him, Chris Skinner. Our sole aim is to inform you with what we've observed of the week, only in mild fashion. Chris, how are you?
Rich, I am a mixed bag of stuff, as you're going to see across this show. Some amazing highlights, some absolutely phenomenal highlights, not least because, as I look to my Velux window to my left, I think you can even see, if you're watching on the YouTube, you can see the sun coming in. Who doesn't feel that vitamin D high in that moment?
The last couple of days I've been spending my mornings on the tractor up at the football pitches that I maintain because the weather is fantastic and it's been great. It lifts the spirit.
I dog walked this morning and I saw the groundsman on the tractor going up and down over the pitches today, and the first thing I thought of was you.
Do you know what? Once we've finished recording and informing people in mild fashion, I've got to go up and finish a penalty spot. I was doing pitches yesterday, and I had an 11 o'clock haircut booked, and it was 10:30. I'm thinking, I've got to go. I've got to put the tractor away, but this pitch isn't finished. So there's one penalty area that needs finishing. Please don't take from this that it's a hardship. I'm going to be so happy to go back up there and get on that tractor.
Please film it. Please
I will
film
do.
It.
I will do.
Of course, there also have been some crushing lows in my week as well, and maybe we'll touch on those at some point. Rich, I think probably we do need to observe for the fourth consecutive week. Sounds like he has emphysema, and we hope that we're going to get through the show without
laughter. That would be handy, because when I laugh at the moment, it sounds like I'm on 40 a day.
Oh, so I'm not to tell you any jokes, no?
No, just look, just be prepared. If at any point I'm happy, I will cough.
Well, let's start by you telling us about your week, Rich.
Chris, I saw a news story today that has restored my faith in modern times in the United Kingdom. A multiplex cinema in Milton Keynes applied for listed building status. It claims to be the first multiplex ever built in the UK. It's built in 1985 in Milton Keynes. It was called The Point, and it was built in the shape of a pyramid, glass pyramid with kind of big metal iron structures holding the glass. A hideous, absolutely hideous looking building, but the first multiplex cinema in the United Kingdom. So from that angle, you'd have to say historic. However, it looks absolutely horrific. The kind of thing that when King Charles was merely a prince that he would have ranted about and called carbuncle. Well, they are up in arms in Milton Keynes today because historic England has turned down their listed status bid. And I'm absolutely delighted because that now means that Britain's first ever multiplex cinema will be demolished and 487 flats will be built for the good people of Milton Keynes. This is the kind of story that I think didn't happen back in the day, all right? We would have been, oh, yes, we better keep this cinema, and it still would have stood there. It looked horrific. And then you look at, like, that big Crescent building in Bath, where that's listed status. You look at all of the wonderful historic buildings we've got, they're listed status, not some pyramid of multiplex cinema that came over from the States. Chris, it's made me happy.
It makes me really unhappy. And Prince Charles characters like yourself who only see historical buildings through the lens of like the Regency era, I think sadly project a negative view on what I think was really interesting 20th century design and architecture. I'm a big fan of brutalism. my favourite building in all of London, for example, is the Barbican. And and
Wow.
and and look, I'm not saying the multiplex in Milton Keynes is pretty. I'm not. But I'm saying to destroy that is to deny our history and is to just basically whitewash over something that people don't quite like. And I think it is really, really important. And not just now. I think for the next generations, in 100 years' time, that will be a fascinating place, or would be if it were left still standing, a fascinating place to see. Side point. I do appreciate the need to build more homes. Milton Keynes only exists because we needed to find new areas to populate people. But to do that at the expense of arts and culture sickens me. Like, you should not be getting rid of important cultural institutions that show things like movies. We desperately need real life IRL experiences. And this is part of the drain of that. And it makes me very, very sad.
You refer to the fact that we need to be keeping our history. That's not our history. That is a multiplex cinema coming over from the States, and we wanted to build some brutalist thing to copy the United States, going away from the wonderful traditional movie theatres that we had originally here in the UK. That does not need to be kept. Secondly,
I disagree.
Secondly, going forward, I'm sure the YouTubers, those that are watching this episode on our YouTube channel, you'll have put up an image of the Point Cinema right now. They'll pass their comment. But my point is, now we live in a time where if you want to see what it was like, you go online. That's what they'll do. They need to have a home. They need to have a home in Milton Keynes in the future to be able to go online and look at images of what the Point used to look like.
And I celebrate the fact that you will never go to any music concerts or Arsenal games ever again because you could just watch them on the telly. It is really sad.
No, you stop. You stop right now, because
I haven't made my point yet.
I don't want to hear it because it'll be worthless. You talk about going to Arsenal, all right? The old stadium, Highbury Stadium, the two stands there got listed status because they were amazing architecture of the time. And when Arsenal moved to a brand new ground, the Emirates Stadium, the old stadium turned into flats, but they had to keep the facade of the old stadium because it was historic. So I can go and see it.
You didn't make it clear to me. So they're keeping the facade of the Milton Keynes multiplex, are they?
No, it's all coming down.
There you go. And that is honestly, and if you're just saying, oh, it's an American import, so it doesn't count as part of our history, does that mean any Art Deco buildings or any Gothic buildings, both styles that don't originate in the UK, all those historic buildings should also be knocked down to make way for 487 modern flats?
Anyway, I'm giving the... Oh, no! It's the first cough of the episode, and I'm not even laughing at you. I am giving listed status and Heritage England 5 stars for staying strong in the face of the Cinema Theatre Association, who believed that the first multiplex of the UK was actually important.
Well, I think there are a bunch of dusty old grumps who need to have a good hard look at themselves and understand that culture is more than just nice, shiny red brick buildings. Turds.
Chris, what else has been going on in your life this week? We've been told it's up and down. Maybe we'll hear an up to begin with.
Let's see. I mean, it could be a bit of both to start with. Rich, my day job is obviously in the world of production. I oversee a team. We make podcasts, we make YouTube videos, we make radio programs, short form and long form content. We book a lot of people, experts, celebrities for our various programs. And I get sent a lot of press releases, not just in my day job, but also for the Bugle, the business that I also run that people probably care more about. And I get sent some amazing press releases. Like some press releases I get sent are hugely influential in the content that we might put out there. Let us know that guests are available. There are certain releases coming out. There is definitely a subset of the PR world, though, who just look to peddle any old shit. And I won't go into any detail, but I'll just give you an example of a couple of ones that I'll have had in recent months. And I'm not going to go into any depth of these unless you want to pick up on them. Vroom with a view. Avid adventurers ditch hotels for their cars in new trend. What's a load of crap? What is that? People are just sleeping in cars instead of hotels, and that's something to a press release? Or is it about motorhomes? Is it basically a press release from a motorhome company saying, buy motorhomes? Okay. Then there's, see the year's biggest commercials. Yeah, because I don't get any other opportunities to watch adverts. So now here's a press. Yeah. And then a quarter of Brits claim to have never revealed this secret to their partner.
Oh, I hate that type.
And I had to read, I read the press release a couple of times. I think the secret was to tell their partner about their ex-partners.
That's
and
not
I'm
a
like,
secret.
No, sometimes you just don't want to know.
No.
Sometimes no one wants to go down that path. And then I was like, oh, and I think the number was only a quarter of Brits. So it's like 3/4 of Brits, therefore, do share it quite openly, which therefore
is way more healthy. No,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, I got a press release this week that was the creme de la creme of bullshit press releases. And the headline was, Haggis crowned UK's most popular pub food.
What?
What a statement. I could not believe that statement. And I was like, how can that be true? How can haggis be bigger? And it comes on, fish and chips came second, apple crumble came third. Greek salads were the most popular salad in there. And I was like, you know what? Because I'm really reasonably well media trained and media literate, I immediately thought, this stinks. This absolutely stinks. I'm not sufficiently media trained not to then mention it in a program, but still, I was like, this is utter horseshit. And then I thought, it's March. When might people be eating haggis? And I was like, could this be because it was Burns night recently?
Yeah.
And could this be based on 1 week of people's existence? But no, apparently it was an 18-month survey. And I was like, hang on a second. So you're saying 18 months? And then I was like, hang on a second. Could this be a global survey? And people are just, so curious about haggis in a way they're not necessarily curious about fish and chips. So all those curious Americans and Australians are like, what is haggis? And so maybe people are, it's a tourist thing. And so I dug into the press release. And then it basically said that haggis was the most Googled pub food in the UK. Now, that does not mean most popular pub food. That is very, very different.
And I would also still debate that it's the most Googled pub food, because for it to be a Googled pub food, it's got to be on a menu in the first place for someone to go, haggis, shall I order that? What is in haggis? And then they'd Google. And I think my beef with this particular press release would be that I don't think you find haggis on, at the very least, 95% of British pub menus.
Yeah. Now, the pub chain, in reference who it turns out were promoting this, I'm not going to mention them. They claim that they do have haggis on the menu. Okay, now here's the thing. They said in the press release, most Googled. So not most searched, not most popular in a survey of X people. I was like, well, there's an easy way to find this. I think you might be familiar with the Google Trends setting. Mm-hmm. And so you can go and explore search term history and how it trends and how it progresses. And it turns out some really fascinating results. Like during COVID, you could put a direct correlation between the rise of COVID cases and people Googling COVID and the rise of the TV show Tiger King. Now, and so you could go, correlation and causation. The more people watch Tiger King, the more people get COVID.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not nonsense, but there was clearly some synergy there and it was fun to explore. And I have, for work a few times, looked at Google Trends. I was like, well, here is an opportunity. So I went and I followed their outcome. I said, so it's the most Googled term, they're saying, in the UK over 18 months. So I just did, and it's coming up on screen now. And I was like, oh, hang on a second. what a load of crap. and the graph that is coming up on screen now shows that fish and chips, even at the lowest point for fish and chips and the highest point for haggis, is almost double at worst all the time. Throughout this period, I went back and searched over 5 years. Same thing. And then I was like, okay, maybe they mean globally, as I suspected it could be globally. Same thing, even more so. And, again, by ratios of like 8 to 1. And then I went, okay, look, I'll just chance it. This is not what they said, but I will just look in Scotland. And even in Scotland, with the exception of every January, I guess around the time of Burns Night, when haggis just goes bang, explodes, fish and chips is a more popular search in Scotland too. What a load of crap. Someone just sent a complete nonsense press release. And here's the thing. You get sent these all the time. I've seen these many times. And then you Google them a few days later, a few weeks later, and they end up in the press. They end up in that tiny bit of the Sun. They end up in some kind of magazine or online article. We are fed such bullshit. And I urge people, whenever you see something like this, do not buy it. So, I mean, fair play to the guy who wrote this. I haven't written back to him. I haven't told him I'm going to be covering it. They did put a request that I mentioned the name of the pub chain in it. I will not mention the name of the pub chain because it lies.
On that, you're not going to call out the person who wrote the press release.
No.
But the pub chain, I do think we deserve to know who is putting their business name to this utter nonsense, because nobody is going to go to said pub chain. So let's name and shame them, literally.
Okay. Can I do it cryptically? Famished equine.
Okay. Okay. I think it's the week of it, Chris. I received a press release at work. A lot come through my door as well. Firms wanting to have a certain thing discussed on a radio show or indeed a podcast. And I received a press release telling me that this Sunday is First Cut Sunday. And I'm thinking, no, it's not. No, that's absolute nonsense. Flymo, you are just trying to sell new mowers because no one's touched them since late October. First Cut Sunday isn't a term. It's not a term. Absolute nonsense.
I remember celebrating First Cut Sunday as a boy. We all dressed in our green aprons and we got down on our knees on the grass, said a prayer, ate a bowl of cut grass pie, and then tucked into the ceremony, picking every blade with our teeth.
I call out PR people because the thing they do in these nonsense press releases is they love a top three or
Yes.
your do's and don'ts on First Cut Sunday.
Yep.
Do use a circuit breaker if you're using a mower with a lead. Oh, piss off! All right, what do you think we are? I hate it. I cannot wait to hear your review for stupid press releases.
So, just quick disclaimer, I've got some friends who work in PR. I work with a lot of PR people who are excellent, and I love those people to bits. And I'm sure they will agree with me when I give press releases like this 1 star.
An interesting caveat at the end.
I don't want a friend to think I'm demeaning their industry. Like I care.
Interesting.
Just go to the ads.
During that advert, I was thinking to myself, what is an advert if it's not an audible press release?
Do we have to philosophize about this kind of thing?
No, we can talk about something different if you want.
I mean, I would see advertising as an alternative to press releases, like as a way to allocate spend in different areas.
And you pay for it as well.
Directly, yeah. I mean, one of the big things about press is that they can state a value that, if they get that story covered in mildly informed, they would put a press value on that.
That's a very good point.
And I wonder,
probably a very high one with all of our subscribers.
Yeah, I wonder how many zeros they would put on such a thing.
Maybe just one.
Richie, come on. We can do this. Hit me.
I saw something this week, Chris, that made me really sad.
No.
Um,
This is always the bit of the show where things go wrong. It's your second review.
and it reminded me of my time at school. And I'm talking about non-uniform day. Hopefully this is something that you will understand if you're one of our international listeners as well, and that non-uniform day isn't just something that was very much the staple and still is of schools in the UK. The chance generally on a Friday at the end of the week for some reason to not wear your uniform, probably bring in a pound coin as well to raise money for some kind of charity. So the idea behind it, no one could dispute. No one could dispute. But the trade-off of non-uniform day is, in my opinion, at least twofold. And firstly, it's what I saw this week. There is always a child who doesn't do no uniform day. Oh, yeah. And I find that so sad. I find it so sad. Chris, exactly that. It breaks my heart. I'm not going to name the child, but I saw him this morning. I know of this child. And when I saw him come up to school with his hair all over the place and his school shirt not tucked in, like it is not tucked in on every single day, but he's in his school uniform, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is tragic. This is absolutely tragic, because all of the other kids, the boys were all wearing football kits. The girls are all wearing whatever they want. They're all happy. They're all relaxed. It's a Friday. They're going in. They're raising money for comic relief. It's a non-uniform day. And then there's this one lad in his fleece and his grey school trousers. And I find that soul-destroying. It's heartbreaking. So that's point number one. Point number two, I think back to when I was a kid. And the other thing about non-uniform day, rightly or wrongly, we're all human beings. We know what kids are like. You judge others. And when you are all in a uniform, no one can compare. You're all wearing the same clothes. And I know what kids are like. And when it's non-uniform day, you look at the other kids and you kind of think, I don't like your clothes. And I find that sad as well. So I don't think there's anything good that comes from non-uniform day. If I was education minister, I think I would ban non-uniform days. There are other ways to raise money for charities. A cake sale, sponsor penalty shootout, throw sponges at the teachers in stocks, whatever. But non-uniform day, there's a sadness to it. I don't like it.
So your two things that you brought to the show so far are ban non-uniform day,
yes,
and knock down any buildings you don't like.
You haven't heard the third one yet.
Oh, God. Okay. I understand a lot of what you're saying. And I remember non-uniform day, that there absolutely being some questioning of some kids' fashion choices. I think there's an element of character building to all of this. And I think particularly like kids learn a little bit about fashion, a bit about what they like, a little bit how to handle tricky people from those situations, as long as it doesn't descend into bullying. I'm not saying I necessarily have a problem with it. I would also argue, and I think kids are a little, certainly than my school, I think kids are a little bit kinder now. I think, seeing the way my kids act, when someone is a bit different, I think kids are much more likely these days to go, oh, that's a bit different, cool. Whereas when I was 11 years old, I think kids were much more likely to go, that's a bit different, here's a punch in the stomach. And so I wonder if you are maybe projecting an anxiety based on your own childhood on actually what might possibly be a kinder generation.
Potentially. When I think back to non-uniform day at my school, I'm envisaging a young lad called Simon who always used to come in on non-uniform day in like army stuff, combat stuff, camouflage stuff.
Oh no, he's a little prepper.
Yeah. And I remember looking at him thinking, why are you not wearing a tracksuit? Why are you not wearing like a t-shirt? Why are you not wearing a football kit? Why are you wearing camo? What's going on? We're in primary school. He never got bullied because he's a nice lad.
No, because and also don't start on the kid dressed like they're in the army.
No. It's a good point. No, it's good. I don't know what came of him now. He's not on social media or anything.
In a bunker.
Oh dear. Oh, Christopher. All sorts of germs and phlegm just came out. I'm so sorry.
I think they reached me.
Yeah. Was there a lad that comes to mind? Just the first name and why for you on non-uniform day? Yeah.
Yeah, there was a kid who basically dressed like his parents, and his parents were already very old-fashioned looking. And, he sort of wore kind of old man's trousers and a button-up shirt. Yeah. Sometimes a blazer. I actually saw him out of school on like a weekend once, and he was dressed like that too. I felt
the Rees-Mogg family.
That's exactly. I mean, I don't know what. In all honesty, and I don't want to pry into his family's life. I wonder what his kids do just wearing their downtime. I do hope they wear like football kits and tracksuits.
Oh, Jacob Rees-Mogg's kids?
Yeah.
I'd love to know what they wear in their downtime. I'd love to know what he wears in his downtime.
Yeah, like really baggy trousers, like a Harry Styles unbuttoned shirt.
What I'd love to do...
Bandana.
Please don't take this as a threat, the personal security of Jacob Rees-Mogg. I'd love to knock on his door...
Right.
At 5 o'clock.
5:30 on a Sunday.
Sunday evening. I don't know, every delivery or something or other, just to see him come out in some Crocs and jogging bottoms and a T-shirt with a hole in the armpit or something or other.
I'd be massively up for it. I would. Maybe. Can we be our own delivery? Can we authentically send him a parcel ourselves?
Yes.
And that's not bad, is it?
How would we find out where he lives, though?
Well, he was an elected member of parliament, so if he hasn't moved house, his address will be... Oh, God, we shouldn't be talking about this. I don't like the guy, but I don't wish anything bad to happen to him.
But no, we're not wishing anything bad to happen to him. What we're going to do is actually turn up at the door, probably with a bar of Tony's Chocolonely or something or other, just to see what he wears on a Sunday night at 5:30. Okay. All this came from Mufti days. I'm so sorry. Or non-uniform. Do you ever call them a Mufti day when you were a kid?
We didn't, but I've met enough people like yourself who do call it that for me to know it's a thing.
Non-uniform days, Mufti, 1 star.
Oh! I'm surprised.
Chris, what else has been on your mind this week?
I'm slightly thrown by that.
You've been telling us it's ups and downs, and I've not heard any downs really.
No, well, I'm reviewing the most ridiculous press release was one in the middle.
That's a fact, but it's not a personal down, is it?
We're going to start with an up, and then my Patreon is going to be a down, but trust me, you're going to enjoy it. It is highly entertaining.
Excellent.
And maybe a little bit controversial for some people.
Oh,
and you'll only get it if you're on Patreon. Rich, I am one of those people who loves to exercise, do sporting challenges and the likes.
Not news to me.
I find it very difficult to do that kind of thing if I don't have a goal. If I don't have a date, I don't have a deadline, I don't have a speed, a time, a weight, a number to do it in. I cannot function without it. And I've done a few of these things recently. I on Friday, so after we recorded the show on Friday, went to work only for a half day, and then I was off for the afternoon because me and 3 other guys from my cricket club did a fundraiser for our local hospice. We did 2 hours of spin biking, rotating like 2 kilometres on, 2 kilometres off, as fast as we could, in a competition against a bunch of other teams to see how far we could go. We did 60 kilometres in about an hour and 40 something. We rode between the 4 of us over 20 miles an hour for the best part of 2 hours. We raised 600-700 quid for our local charity.
That's great.
Mostly, it felt great. I needed to have that in my diary to have bothered in the weeks up to it, to have actually bothered to cycle to train for it. I needed that in my diary. Tomorrow, I'm doing swimathon, and I signed up for it several months ago, and I've been swimming a couple of times a week, as I've talked about on the show, with that as an explicit goal. I hope it goes very well for me tomorrow. On Sunday, I wake up. I have no goals left. I have no distances to do, nothing to run for, nothing to train for. I've got to find a new thing. And if I do not find a new thing, Chrissy here will just eat cake. And I am now looking for it. Now, okay, so the cricket season is about to start. I've got a couple of micro goals in that, but it's, turning up and not making a fool of yourself on the cricket pitch is not quite the same as I'm going to do a bike ride over this distance or at this speed, or I'm going to do a swim, or I've been thinking about doing a paddleboard race, but I haven't committed to anything yet. There's stuff in the ether, but I'm talking to you, and I'm talking to you, the audience. I'd welcome some advice here. I'd love some suggestions for something that will get me up off the sofa for the next 3 or 4 months.
Are you looking for a challenge that is brand new, or are you looking for a challenge that is already in your target?
Open to both. Very much open to both.
I don't know why, but 10-pin bowling is coming to mind. I think it's a fantastic sport.
It is a fantastic sport. Not quite sure how that's going to keep me off the sofa and cakes.
We can't do it at home.
Okay, so it gets me off the sofa.
Yeah.
Am I going to be in the physical shape I want to be after dedicating myself to 3 months of 10-pin bowling?
No, you're not. So let's scratch that.
I do love it as an idea. I'd love to actually, I probably like you. I go 10-pin bowling a couple of times a year, and I'm okay at it. I'm all right. Every now and then I have a good old go at it.
I always get above 100.
Yeah, exactly. And every now and then I bust 150, and I feel pretty good about myself. And I'm
do
like,
you really?
Yeah, every now and then, and I'm like, so what if I went once a week for 3 months? Maybe I'd be good.
Isn't that? I find it fascinating about the human psyche. There are things out there that all of us have the potential to be the best in the world at, but we just haven't tried them. And I wonder whether you have let a successful 10-pin bowling career go by the way because of all of the other triathlons and cricket and going down the allotment that you've done instead.
I don't. If I can be really honest about me, this maybe sound a touch arrogant. At pretty much every sport I've ever done, I'm at worst a 6.5 out of 10, and at best a 7.5 out of 10. I am better. I am slightly better than average at every single sport I have ever done, and never genuinely good at it.
I don't wish this to sound competitive and equally arrogant, but I would also say that if you turned up in that bracket of between 6.5 and 7.5 out of 10, you'd see someone there you recognise, and that's me. I would also say that at pretty much every sport that I've tried my hand at, I am slightly better than average.
We're average plus guys.
Yes.
We are mildly good at sport.
We are, but we still haven't found you a new thing to do. Is there something that we could do together?
Would love to.
Because
we're going to a wedding next Friday. What can we do on Friday?
Whoa! What? Okay. What sport can be done at a wedding?
Welly wanging.
Don't find many people turning up at weddings in wellies.
We could.
No, that's true.
Or with their darts, to be fair.
Breakdancing.
No.
That was in the Olympics?
Yeah. Oh, that poor Australian lady.
I know.
That was like the breakdancing equivalent of turning up to school on a non-uniform day.
Non-uniform day, yeah, definitely, yeah. She'll never be forgotten, much like poor old Simon in his combat gear.
I hope that wasn't... Oh, Simon, okay, yeah.
He's prepping.
What do you want to do? Like, motivate... Like, what's interesting for you at the moment?
Not cough.
Okay, so
I want to get rid of this cold.
Yeah, okay.
Because then I can exercise. The weather's ready to get out on some long old walks, some runs, some bike rides, and at the moment, wheezing my way down the street.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd love to get out on a bike ride with you. Obviously, I did a big bike ride last summer.
Yeah.
And then kept up my riding through the rest of the summer, and then the bike has laid dormant over autumn and winter. and the weather's ready to get out riding again. I'd like to do a ride together.
I would be very up for that. So, okay, you and I will do a ride together. Now, I live in Hackney. You live in Ware. How far is Ware to Cambridge?
On the train, about 40 minutes.
So, on a couple of hours on a bike, is that a good target for you?
Yeah.
I do love cycling to Cambridge because it's quite flat and there's lots of really pretty villages.
I'd cycle
and
to
I think I
Cambridge
go
with you.
through, if not through Ware, I think I go through Ware. So I could pick you up on the way.
Yeah.
Ooh, and then we could have a nice cup of tea and a bun in front of like one of the posh colleges in Cambridge.
Yes.
Then
and
a pint.
Cambridge is famous for cycling.
Yes.
Right.
Famously.
Well, once you've done your swimathon, your next challenge is the Cambridge combo.
Could we record a mildly informed en route?
Yes, of course we could.
As I have been thinking about, like, what do we do about our next week? Do we do a travel hacker meets mildly informed in some way, shape or form next week?
Are you referring to next week when you and I go to a wedding together on the day that we would normally record our episode of Mildly Informed?
It feels like we've got an open goal here. Now, I'm not saying we won't Diana Ross it, but there is definitely a window.
There is a window. We're also sharing a hotel together on the Friday night, aren't we?
We are.
So the question is, where do we record our episode? And I wonder whether we record it Friday night. Not night, but like, back at the room after a skinful at a wedding.
Could we do it in two parts?
Yes.
Could we do the before? Could we literally break away and do one? So we do a bit at the start of the wedding, before the wedding starts. A bit, maybe in that bit, where there's drinks and photos are being done.
Yeah.
And then we do the final bit hammered.
Yes.
I don't think people would want 30 minutes of us hammered, but 10 at the end, I think would be good.
That's great. That's what we'll do. That's what the next episode will be.
I'm in. Okay, we've got two challenges. We're riding to Cambridge together, and we're going to record a podcast in 3 parts at a wedding, which concludes in us being drunk.
Lovely. And both of those get you off the sofa and you don't eat cake.
Great. Thank you, Rich. I give this conversation 5 stars.
Here's an advert.
Oh my God, I cannot believe the famished equine is advertising on this show. Rich, give me one more thing before we go to my Patreon doom scroll of updates.
I'm worried about this. I'm really worried about this.
Okay.
Because at an earlier point in this episode, you called me on the first 2 things I've reviewed this week. Chris, I've rediscovered Dolly Mixtures. I absolutely love Dolly Mixtures. I've discovered that they're on sale sub £1 in most supermarkets, and they are absolutely fantastic.
What £1 for how many Dolly Mixtures? This is a really important
85
metric.
grams.
Okay, decent.
85 grams, and you're looking around about 75p.
So you have the palate of a 6-year-old.
Are you saying, is that a question or a statement?
I guess it was a rhetorical question.
No, my palate is more advanced than a 6-year-old, but I am open to the activities of a 6-year-old.
Yeah, okay. Why? What? Tell me. Give me the story here. So, what made you, a 57-year-old man, pick up?
I'm not 57. People don't believe that.
What made you, a grown man, walk into a shop and pick up a 85-gram bag of Dolly Mixture and then eat, I'm guessing, to be at this stage, several packets and go, yeah, this is me now. I'm a Dolly Mixture guy.
I was in the confectionery aisle a little while back picking up sweets ahead of my youngest son's birthday. And as I was looking for various bits and bobs, I saw I saw Dolly Mixtures and I thought to myself, ha, wow, don't think I've had them for a good 35 years. That's retro. I'm going to pick one up. So I picked up a pack of Dolly Mixtures, got in the car, was driving back. On the passenger seat next to me was carry a bag full of provisions for the party. And then I saw the Dolly Mixtures and I thought, ooh, I'll open that now while I drive home. Only a 5-minute drive home. So I opened the little 85-gram pack of Dolly Mixtures, put them in the little cup receptacle that you have in the centre of the car. All gone by the time I rocked up on the driveway. I was, you know how like you get to the end of a packet of crisps and you might drink crisp sediment.
Yep.
Towards the end of the pack of Dolly Mixtures, I couldn't get my fat fingers in that small pack quick enough. I was drinking Dolly Mixtures.
What's the best of the Dolly Mixtures?
No. That's the thing. There isn't a best because for those of you who don't know what Dolly Mixtures are, you might be international listeners because they're very much a British confection. Multicoloured fondant shapes, but they're in cube and cylinder shape. So they're all very different colourings, different flavourings. And when I use colouring and flavourings, there's a hell of a lot of food colouring and food flavouring in there. But mixed in are also sugar-coated jellies. So everything is of a different shape and taste and texture on your tongue. And I think the Dolly Mixture, clues in the name because it's a mixture, they are meant to be consumed en masse rather than going, ooh, I think I'll have that cylindrical purple one with the white innard. You have to eat them as a mixture.
I have this image of you minesweeping into your big mitts at a kid's party where all the Dolly Mixture are laid out and there you are. Mine.
Hey,
mine.
I am known in our circle of friends at kids' parties to minesweep once the kids have left the table. Yep. I'll take anything. Ice gems, party rings, curled up white sandwiches with jam inside. I'll take anything.
No wonder you've had a cold for 4 weeks.
Oh dear. I love kids' food. Dolly
Are you
Mixtures.
making these noises on absolute? Is Bush having to put up with this?
Well, you got to bear in mind, on radio form, you're talking 90 seconds, 2 minutes a pop. You know, we've been wagging on for about 40 minutes right now. That's 40 minutes of laughter, non-stop.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't make you laugh either.
You said that. Dolly Mixtures, 5 stars, Christopher. God bless the Barrett people.
Oh, is it Barrett's?
Yeah, Barrett's make Dolly Mixture.
Who owns Barrett's?
I don't know, actually.
This show has run too long already. We can't go down that wormhole.
Trebor, I think.
Who owns Trebor?
Barrett's.
No, I've got a feeling that Barrett's were bought by someone like Roundtree or Trebor, and then they were bought by someone like Cadbury, and then they were bought by someone like Kraft. I reckon there's like 4 layers of ownership in that.
Hey, Siri, who owns Barrett Sweets?
Do you want me to use ChatGPT to answer that?
No. It's probably time to say goodbye to everyone but our patrons. And what a way this has finished. Chris looks absolutely dejected. If you have any comments, he doesn't, he's speechless. But if you have any comments on this week's episode, mildlyinformedpod@gmail.com, socials @producer Chris or @Richie Firth, or indeed comment on our YouTube channel. Chris, I'll see you on the Patreon, where no doubt you'll talk again. He's done, listeners. He's done.